You're listening to the Blue Raider Podcast, your number one resource for all the latest news, updates, and game recaps from Middle Tennessee athletics. Join us every Tuesday for our weekly interviews with players, coaches, and local media personalities alike. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe on all our socials. We're on Instagram, X, Twitter, and TikTok at Blue Raider Pod. If you're currently listening on your favorite streaming service, we also offer a visual presentation on YouTube at Blue Raider Podcast. Lastly, I'd love to hear your feedback, so don't forget to subscribe to GoMiddle.com to discuss this week's episodes along with the latest news and updates around Middle Tennessee. Welcome back to the Blue Raider Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Bolden. Today marks the fourth Summer Series episode where we check in with our favorite athletic programs on their off-season progress. I'm especially excited to bring you today's episode on the men's basketball program who made waves in the portal season with the addition of 6 signees. We might even consider a 7th signee in there. We are joined first by head men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Coach, again, like I said in the intro there, 6, potentially you could label Jestin as the 7th. You know, tell me, you had a big off season and you guys hit it hard and you hit it fast. So tell me about that process and how you were able to get this group of guys in and literally flip a roster this upcoming season.
Yeah, it's kind of the new norm, if you will, these days with both, the advent of the transfer portal and the ability to be eligible right away after your transfer. And so, it feels like a lot for us signing 6, and if you count JP coming back, being a 7th so-called addition to our program. But right now, this past year in Division I, there were just over 2,000 transfers in men's basketball. When you think about 363 teams, you're talking about an average of about 6 per team just on transfers. And if you graduate a couple, now you're talking about 7 or 8 losses. So you're having to replace roughly about half your team, if not a little over half your team, potentially as we go forward year in and year out. And we were in that situation this year. And as you said, we hit the ground running quickly, hit it hard, and brought in some really talented players, really excited about them. We've had about a month here in the summer of workouts with the addition of those new guys, all except for one. And I really like this group. We've been able to add some size and some athleticism, a little more shooting, the ability to shoot the ball. So it's going to be a good group. When you think about 6 new players, truly 6 new faces have joined us. But if you think back a year to 2 guys in Cam Weston and Tori Austin were on the team but didn't play. You know, Cam played a game and a half before he tore his ACL, and then Tori Austin redshirted. So when you look back from last year's team to this year's team, you've got 8 new players. And this group has had a good summer so far. We've got a new strength coach in Josh Wilkerson, who's done an excellent job of starting to put on some strength and some weight and some power to our veteran players as well as these returnees. And I like the way this group is starting to shape up.
I'm interested to know how you gauge yourself or grade yourself out with this. I think what's interesting, especially at the mid-major level, sometimes you get what you get, but it seems like the targets were very targeted. It seemed like these are guys that we absolutely needed to have on roster to make improvements. How were you able to grade that out? And then secondly, how do you grade out yourself in getting the guys that you needed?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Jake. We really really happy with not just that we were able to plug spots as far as the positions that were positions of need, but who we were able to do that with. You know, Isam Mustafa, you lose somebody like Jared Jones, who had a good season for us last year and was 3rd team all-conference. You're losing some production at that position. And to bring in a young man like Isam Mustafa, who played 4 years at Coastal Carolina before transferring to TCU in the Big 12, he's a proven, productive player at this level. We played against him 2 years ago when he was at Coastal Carolina and they came to the Murphy Center, and he had 19 and 10 against us. We won the game, but he still had 19 and 10. That season, Isam averaged a double-double. You look back to last year, and Jared certainly had some terrific games for us where he had double-doubles. This young man averaged a double-double. Hopefully that translates to this upcoming season. But at the same time, you look back over his career at Coastal, and he averaged 13 and 9. His rebound rate, both at Coastal and at TCU, is very high. You look at a young man like Kamari Lands. Kamari Lands was a consensus top 100 player by any publication coming out of high school. And his 2 years of college, he's played 1 year in the ACC and 1 year in the Pac-12 at Louisville and Arizona State, and averaged about 19 or 20 minutes at both programs. If you look back to some of the high impact players that we've had at Middle Tennessee, the Ja'Cory Williams, the Nick Kings, the LaRon Dindys, there are some really big time players that have come in and had huge years and huge numbers for us. I'm not saying his are going to translate to that this year, but there's some similarities there. And so we look for big things from those two young men. Obviously, you love when you can welcome back a local product, bringing Jared Hall from Lebanon High School, played there under Jim McDowell. He's back and brings just size, athleticism. He's really shot the ball well so far this summer as well. So that's something that we're looking forward to. And, you look at Jalen Counter from IUPUI. We needed some more. Last year when Cam went down, we had to move from JP from the 2 to the 1. That doesn't mean JP can't play the 1 at all. But now when you go from playing the point guard position for 7 or 8 minutes a game to having to do it for 35 minutes a game, that's very different. And so we needed some more depth back there. And Jalen Counter does that for us. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, led IUP in scoring and steals and minutes. He's a guy that when you put him out there, he's been there, he's done it, and he's done it well at the collegiate level. Alec Oglesby is a 6'5" transfer from Stetson that shot 40% from 3 last year for a team that made the NCAA tournament. So you've got to like his productivity as well and what he's able to do, and kind of checks one of the boxes of something of need, which was more perimeter shooting. And lastly, we were able to bring back he's a newcomer, but he's a vet at the same time, and Christian Fussell. Anytime you can add depth that's not only experience depth, but depth he's experienced here at Middle Tennessee. He's a 4-year college player, but 3 of those 4 years were with us before he transferred to UT Martin. And as our fans know, Fuss is a 6'10" young man that can shoot the basketball. He's a great teammate. He's had great energy and is honestly just really excited to be back in Murfreesboro. His transition back into our group was pretty seamless. He saw familiar faces, knew where the restaurants in town were, knew where his apartment was going to be. So his transition was quick. And because of all that, Jake, I really like just how this group is starting to shape up. You start watching the guard workouts and the forward workouts, and you really see some of the things that you have to have in order to win a championship at this level. And, if this group continues to stay hungry and keep working, I like what we can be.
And there's so much to unpack there with a group like that with so much talent at different positions. And we'll start back at the top there with Mustafa. When he came through, for me as a Blue Raider faithful forever, he reminds me a lot of Sean Jones, very physical. He's a walking nightly double-double. And something that is so different about him that we've seen from like Scurry, Dishman, Coleman Jones, they have good assist numbers. Mustafa's not necessarily in that range of great assist numbers. So I'm interested to know he's not the facilitator that we've seen in years past. Where do you see his role? Are we going to see a shift in philosophy in regards to the offense running through the forward? What do you kind of see with him relative to what we've seen in years past?
That's a great question. He isn't, you think back to Dishman, a terrific passer. He's almost your second point guard out on the floor. We talked to him about having to quarterback the offense. Esam will be able to do that, but in a different way. He's just such a low block, low post presence. And you want to be able to have rim threats. You want your guards to have enough guards on the floor that can put pressure on the rim, off the bounce, and get in the paint. And you've also got to have either forwards or posts who they're a threat to score in the paint. And that's what Esam is. He is a threat to score when he gets the ball around the basket. He could score with either hand because of his high rebound rate. He just ends up with the ball around the basket. That's part of being a rim threat as well, as the ability to get offensive rebounds. And so there won't be a shift in offensive philosophy as far as let's go away from it and be a 3-around-2, old school, throw it in the post kind of team. But at the same time, because of his skill set, and it's not to say that he's a non-shooter, because that's something he's continuing to develop. But at the same time, his strength is playing around the basket. You look at Jared last year made several threes from behind the arc. That's something that Chris Loof is starting to do as well, which we're really excited about. So to have Esam, who's kind of more of a low block, score around the basket look, and then be able to come in with somebody who's a little more mobile, a little bit taller, a little bit longer, a guy that can make threes, and Chris Loof, same kind of thing with Christian Fussell. We're able to give other teams just different looks while having somebody that's 6'10", 6'11", that can protect the rim on the other end of the floor. That's the thing that I really like. Chris got to where he was really blocking shots late last year in the season, had several big ones in our win over Western Kentucky at home. Esam's more of a wall you up, use his size at 6'9", 6'10". He's about 250, 260 pounds. So, those two young men in particular give you some rim protection on the defensive end of the floor.
To expand on that too, talk about the forward play in general. You've got Esam, you talk about Jared, who's kind of, he does a little bit of everything, but it's an interesting group because you have this experience with Esam, with Christian. Now you have Chris, who's coming back after a full year. You already teased about Torrey Alston and his development. I think he's another guy that adds a different dynamic that you don't see with everyone else that's in that group. So Yep. How are these guys meshing? And it sounds like you've already mentioned that a lot of these guys are going to see playing time and see where they kind of stick.
You hit it. There's some things like Torrey Alston gives you a little bit of some things that Teofilo Leonard was able to do for us a couple of years ago. Use his length and athleticism and activity to make plays around the rim. He's gained about 20 pounds of muscle over the last 12 months. He got to us. He was right at 180 pounds. He's right at 200 pounds now. Wants to gain another 5 to 10 before the season starts. And because of that, he's just been able to use that length and athleticism and be productive in some of the early summer workouts. He's known what to do and can see the play that needs to happen. But when you're kind of getting knocked around a little bit, you can't be as productive. He's really worked hard on his body and starting to make some plays. You think about we talked about Jared Hall a little bit earlier. Kind of gives you a little bit of an inside-out threat. As a standstill shooter, he's been making a high number of them this summer, but also starting to use his physicality to his advantage as well. Kamari Lands has guard skills, but he's 6'8", about 225, 230 pounds. And it's something that he's starting to add more of a physical dimension to his game. He's been out on the perimeter a lot over the course of his college career, but his shooting numbers we felt like could really go up if he was just able to shoot shots closer to the basket. It doesn't no good to be 6'8", 230 or 7 foot 250 if you play like a guard who's 6 foot 160 pounds. And so he's in some of our workouts, he's been a physical player. And, those three young men at that spot, as far as newcomers, are really showing us some things that we needed.
Yeah, Lands is an interesting piece because he reminds me a lot as far as where he was prior to his time in Murfreesboro. He was a scorer, much like we saw with JP at Tyler Community College. Kamari was that way. And back to the Jared Hall discussion, same with him in high school, nearly a 30-point scorer. But back to Kamari, his development at a high P4 level school versus now at a Conference USA school. I think a lot of people view this as an opportunity for him to kind of see his wings spread. And you already compared him to Nick King earlier.
I think that's a great comparison. I hope, I'd love for him to have Nick King numbers his first year,
wouldn't
but
we all?
but where do you see that development in these guys? What is it? What's kind of and I guess it's always different because with JP, it took him a year to get under himself. And even Trey Green this last year, we kind of saw him kind of waking up in regards to his shooting from deep. Where do you kind of see these guys finally take that turn and get back to their scoring ways that you've seen when you're recruiting them?
Well, I think for somebody like Kamari, as well as what I'd imagine it for previous players like Ja'Cory, like Nick, like CJ Jones when he came to us from Arkansas, is guys that have been a part of the regular rotation at those, whether it's SEC, ACC schools, Pac-12 schools, P4 level, just want to be more of the major impact guy, being one of the top guys on the team, being somebody that you have to be counted on. I feel like we feel like that's how you develop the most and the best is when, if you want to become a pro, to have to be counted on every single day, night in and night out, whether it's practices or games, that if you don't come ready to play, if you don't perform, the chances of us winning are slim. You have to deliver every day. And so you start prepping and playing with a totally different edge. It's different when you're the, 8th, 9th, 10th man for 4 years versus you're 8, 9, 10 for a couple years and you work your way into a totally different level, totally different role. I don't think he saw that happening where he was, and that's why he came here, is putting himself from, I'm in the regular rotation at Louisville, I'm in the regular rotation at Arizona State. That's good. But if I'm going to take another jump, I got to get to where I've got to deliver. And I think he's going to be able to do that for us this year. And I think that's what the Ja'Cory Williams and Nick Kings did, is whether they were playing at Arkansas or Alabama or Memphis, they were part of it because they were very, very talented. But sometimes there's a log jam at some of those places. There just aren't enough minutes to go around for everybody. And I think he's a young man that just with more time and a bigger role, you start to see his productivity go up. Sometimes when you're that 9th or 10th man, you feel like every time you get in the game, if I don't get something done immediately, coach is going to take me back out, and I might not get back out here. Sometimes you tend to relax a little bit as one of those guys that now all of a sudden you're one of the top 2 or 3 players. You play through mistakes a little bit better. You let the game come to you a little bit more relaxed and let your talent show, as opposed to pressing so that you get more minutes. Sometimes you start pressing so you get more minutes and you play worse. And so now coach takes you out anyway. And so I think for players like himself, knowing that you're going to be a high impact player for us, you've got to be ready to go night in and night out. You can see a big jump for some of those guys year in and year over year because of those things.
Another signee that I really liked was Alec Oglesby, and I'll tease the rest of this episode here. He comes on next after with you, Coach, and he's a personality that I really liked after talking to him. He brings this experience, a savvy veteran about him, but the one thing that I liked about him a lot that I think you may be taken from the playbook of the women's team is he comes from successful backgrounds. State champion in high school. He had a career there at Stetson where he led them to March Madnesses last year. He just has that it ability, I think, and you can attest to his understanding of what it takes to be a winner because of that background he has. I think he's a great leadership role for you guys. I'm interested to hear your input on what you've seen from him in the 1 month of workout so far.
Man, he's great. You'll see that, as this podcast continues and get a chance to just hear him. He just sounds different, carries himself different. He's just an older, mature young man. He goes about his business the right way, a really hard worker. I actually played high school basketball against his dad's team. I'd spoken to Alec on the phone when we started recruiting him and realized who his father was, and was a high school basketball coach in Western North Carolina, and played against him in high school. So I've known his dad for a long time. We were really fortunate to get him out of the transfer portal because he just brings great qualities to your team and to your locker room, whether he's in the game or not. While he's out there, he's obviously a competitor and can really shoot the basketball, and he's got experience winning. He's been a part of several winning programs at both Cleveland State, UNCW, Stetson, and now what he can bring to our locker room is he knows what winning looks like. He knows what it feels like, and I don't think you can have enough guys like him in your program.
And lastly, to round him up is Jalen Counter. I think he's another interesting piece. And everyone talked about last season, JP having to take over that point guard role. Counter, those are where all of his minutes are primarily. He's going to be a great backup to what I assume to be Cam. Where do you see his role in regards to this year? I mean, he's already a senior, so not much. I don't know how much development time there is for him, but where do you see him fitting into the roster?
Well, he needs to be an impact guy. I know that, and that's why we recruited him and why he's here. You think about combo guards and guys that have some size, and he fits that bill. You look at having him and JP and Cam out there at times together. There'll be times that obviously the three of those are playing the 1 and the 2 spot together. There'll be times where 2 of those guys and Trey Green can be out there together. Trey Green's another guy at 6'3", 200 pounds, and Cam at 6'3", basically 200 pounds. At Jalen Counter at 6'3", 200 pounds. You've got size and interchangeable guys, and I think Jalen's another guy that is a multi-dimensional player. He can make plays for himself and others off the bounce. He's strong enough to guard bigger players, or at least taller players than himself. He's got experience. So you just don't want to put guys in spots where they're not going to be successful. And he also allows us to not really wear Cam out early in the season. Cam's coming off an injury and hasn't played since last November. And so you really, what you don't want to have to do is on game 1 playing for 40 minutes. And so it allows Cam to kind of ease himself into the season as he gets more and more comfortable. So I really like his energy and what he's brought to the table so far in Jalen Counter.
Yeah, you touched on it there with Cam and his injury update. Back in November was when the ACL tear happened. I'm interested, where does he stand now? What do we look like when the season rolls around there in November again?
Yeah, he looks good so far. He's really worked hard. He's able to do most of the things that we're doing, both in the weight room, our off-court conditioning, as well as some of the on-court things. His surgery was December 1st, so you think 9 months out, which is your recovery date and timeline, to be fully recovered, assuming things go well. So that would be September 1st. And so right now he's about 7.5 months into it, and he's looking good. That's not to say that on September 1 we're just going to turn the reins loose and just let him go. But at the same time, for where right now, the early part of July, he's where he needs to be. There hasn't been any hiccups so far, knock on wood, and he's doing well. He is doing well. We're excited about that. Lord knows, we saw last year our team was reliant on him and what he could do. When you lose your point guard, your quarterback, or one of your best players, it hurts. When that's the same person, it really hurts. You lose a guy that some were predicting being a first-team all-conference guy, and it's the point guard, and now he's out. And there are different kind of analytics and metrics that measure usage rates. Well, his usage rate the previous season was one of the tops in the country, and you can see why. I mean, when our fans watch him, when we watch him, he looks good out there with that ball in his hands, and so you want the ball in his hands. Now all of a sudden, somebody else has to have that ball in their hands the majority of the game. It's going to look different. So it was a hard adjustment for our team to make, but I think at the same time, what it did is allowed some other guys to really grow their games, albeit in a very hard and uncomfortable season. But at the same time, now I think those guys are, particularly like JP, better off for it. Now having Cam back and having Jalen Counter out there with them as well, I really like how our backcourt is shaping up.
Yeah, I think, and that was kind of my next question leading into the backcourt. Now you have Cam back to what we hope to be full health by the time conference season rolls back around, and we're going to be playing. It sounds like you're going to be playing around with what you got all over the court because you have so much experience. You've got 9 seniors on the roster this year, and I know that seniors nowadays doesn't mean what it did 5 years ago, because that could mean they could get another year, or there's so many things in play here. But when you talk about the roster buildup of 9 seniors, it just seems like you've got this veteran presence that it seems like there's it's time to do damage, and that's now. So when you're having these conversations with these guys, you're bringing in all these veteran players, you're bringing in all this experience. What is that conversation like with your guys? Because you ended the season on a high note relative to the finish against Western in the semis, but you finished on a high note after a really slow start. What is that conversation like with your guys about bringing the troops together? This season really means something because of what we've got in front of us with the 9 seniors, and really needing a bounce back year to win the fans back over in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, I think if you the good thing is all those guys, whether it's seniors or not, are hungry to win. And the good thing is even with our returners outside of last year and going into the season, we were doing. You back up 2 or 3 years, and you really like where our group was headed. And so now you just have to kind of, after last year and Cam going down, had to kind of reset things. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I guess now you'd say, you win 26 games and you win the East Division, get to the semifinals, lose to the eventual champion in UAB. The next year had a great season, finished towards the top, beat a top 25 team in FAU. Miss a shot there towards the end in the semifinals against them before they make their run to the Final Four. And then you go into last year and your preseason co-favorites. You picked one. So you think about, you like where that's headed. And then, we hit a rough patch there after Cam's injury, and then also Josh Agundale. And we talked about rim threats and paint threats earlier. Now all of a sudden you look back to last year, and 2 of those threats are no longer able to play. You've got a low post presence that's gone, and your point guard's gone. And we were still able, as you just mentioned, to end on a high note, get to the semifinals, albeit, that the game against Western was no fun in the semis, but won our last 6 home games. And now you look at this group and what we've got going into this season, you've got yet another chance to have a great season. I thought we would have had a great season last year. If you ask any of our players who were here, or the ones that and are gone, or the ones that are here, they knew what things were looking like last summer. We went to Italy, and albeit we weren't playing Kentucky on our foreign tour, I really liked what we were seeing from our group. We played East Tennessee State and UT Martin in close scrimmages. Both teams lost in their conference championship games, and I can't say what the score was or give out any stats here publicly, but I liked the results a lot and what we saw in those. And then we started out with 2 wins before things were derailed. So if you look back to how about 24 to 30 months were headed, things were headed right where we wanted it. And that, I think that is still the same today. We've got a great product. We're at a great location in Murfreesboro. We've got a great group of guys. I think this team, if we continue to develop and play the right way and come together with a lot of newcomers, a bunch of seniors, this will be yet another fun year. When you're in a gym full of guys that, it's hard to describe it, but it's kind of that it factor. I think you mentioned a little bit earlier. When you're in a gym that just sounds the right way and it feels the right way, you just kind of walk out of there sometimes, whether it's a fan or a player or a coach, and just know that feels a little bit different, or, man, I don't like the sounds of that. That was boring or low energy, or I don't know if those guys are good enough. And then you get the opposite too. That's a high energy weight room, or that's a high energy gym, or those guys look big and long and talented and are skilled. I'll say this: I like the looks of this group so far.
Yeah, you're not alone. I would say a lot of Blue Raider fans should feel optimistic about this team that you've put together this offseason. The trajectory is moving right back up, and I think the way that the season ended last year in the regular season, you talk about the 6 home wins, is a great sign of where things are turning for you. We're glad things are moving in that direction. We're excited about this upcoming season. Coach, before I let you go, I know we talked a little bit about some of the non-conference schedules, the teams that may be playing. We know you have recurring games with Belmont and Murray. But there was another new exciting series that you kind of wanted to tease for the fans.
Yeah, in addition to those, we've still got UAB. We'll have to go down to Birmingham this year. That'll be yet another tough trip. We're part of the Myrtle Beach Invitational. That's our MTE right before Thanksgiving. Right now, I know Bradley, South Florida, Ohio, and I believe Princeton, along with ourselves, are 5 of the guaranteed teams in it. They're still talking to about 7 or 8 other teams for those last 3 spots, but should be a fun tournament. All those games will be on ESPN the week before Thanksgiving. But we also started a new series with Evansville. Evansville, the Missouri Valley. For our fans that don't know, almost 50 years ago, Evansville was on their way to Murfreesboro to play Middle Tennessee when their team plane crashed and it killed all the members on board. And so we got together with them several months ago and have decided to start a 4-year series. And in part because of we're approaching the 50-year anniversary of that tragic accident. For a long time, I'm sure some college basketball fans remember Evansville wore sleeves as part of their uniforms instead of the tank top look. It was sleeved uniforms to commemorate and continue to honor those victims from that plane crash. So on the 50-year anniversary of that, as part of that 4-game series, they will be coming to Murfreesboro. So it'd be kind of neat to honor those families as we approach that 50-year anniversary of that accident.
Very neat stuff there with commemorating that accident tragically happened 50 years ago. But Coach, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're taking a break out of your vacation to do this for the fans, and I speak for all of us. I appreciate it, and we're excited about this upcoming season.
Sounds good. Thank you. Me too.
Joining us now is one of the latest additions to the Blue Raider basketball squad via the transfer portal, contributing to a Stetson University team that made a trip to last year's March Madness after earning an Atlantic Sun tournament championship bid. He averaged 10 points and 4 rebounds per contest in 23-24, while adding to his impressive 40% career three-point shooting mark. From Gainesville, Florida, it's Alec Oglesby. Alec, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really glad be a part of your show.
Well, Alec, you're intriguing. We said this before we came on. I'm really intrigued by your story. You kind of you've been everywhere, really. So it seems you've been to a lot of successful programs. As I just mentioned at the top there at Stetson. Tell me a little bit about your journey here to Murfreesboro. What kind of pulled you in to Coach McDevitt and staff, and kind of what did it take to kind of get you to where you are now in your basketball career?
I mean, it's been definitely a long journey. Been to a few different spots. Been like I said, I've been to NCAA tournament twice before, and was at Stetson University last year in the transfer portal. And MTSU caught my eye. I really liked Nick McDevitt. I liked the coaching staff, Wes Long, everybody on staff seemed like they had my best interest. I liked how the program fit my game, the style of play, their defensive, how they viewed me on their defensive end and on offensive end. So I thought it was the best fit for me overall.
How did that dialogue work? As a guy that's been in the portal before, is this a situation where you're reaching out to teams, or you're kind of a recognizable name? Like I said, you're a double-digit scorer last year. You have excellent three-point shooting numbers. Was the dialogue more one-sided, or were you reaching out to MTSU? How did that work?
No, well, when I entered the portal a few days after, or maybe not even a few days after, MTSU, they reached out to me. And then actually it was Coach Wes Long. He reached out to me, and then he got me on the phone with Coach McDevitt. And then we just talked from there, set up an official visit. And then as soon as I visited, I knew this was going to be the place for me. So
So again, back to kind of what drew your eye here. I think when you look at this team on paper from last year, they struggled, and Nick doesn't shy away from that. But you're kind of a key, vital part of what could change the program. And I'm not making out any lineups for McDevitt. That's for him and his staff to do for you. But I'd have to believe, from my perspective, you're going to be a starter, if not first one off the bench for this program, because of your capabilities of scoring at the shooting guard position, the length that you offer, at my opinion, a wing. So when you're measuring yourself up to where you fit into this team, what was Alec's perspective on what MTSU had available for you?
Yeah, like he explained to me, they struggled with shooting last year, and bringing me in as a shooter myself, I really thought I can really fill that hole in there. What they weren't as good as last year. So bringing in what I'm capable, I'm a great shooter. So bringing that into their team will be very helpful to the roster and taking to the next step.
Tell me about the shooting prowess you have. I mean, a 40% career in college from three-point range is practically unheard of. Obviously, it's something you take pride in. What does kind of the preparation for a season go into? Where is that a number that you even think about?
I mean, I don't really think about it, but I obviously have it in mind. Every day, work on my shot, thousands and thousands of reps, makes every day, footwork. It's just really, I've been really detailed all my life. Going back to when I was a child with my dad. My dad taught me everything I know about shooting. Just going back, just everything's been detailed throughout my life when it came to that aspect. So yeah, now I'm here, 40% 3-point shooter for 4 years. I guess you could say it's pretty good. So
I love the dynamic that you and your father have. He's obviously a big supporter on social media, and I've got a few questions about him coming up at the end. But I want to know, too, what has the transition been like for you and your teammates? I know that, like, again, you're learning all new faces once again. How are you fitting in with the guys? How do you feel about Murfreesboro?
no, I mean I think it's been a really smooth transition. I really enjoy my teammates. My teammates have welcomed me with open arms. I've got along with each and every one of them. I mean they're great guys, especially the guys we brought in and the guys from last year. Everybody's a great guy. I think I've really meshed with a lot of them. So
How long you been in Murfreesboro?
I'd probably say about a month and a half. About a month and a half. So yeah, I really liked Murfreesboro, like the city. So I really enjoyed it so far.
For the timeline for those of the recording date, that's about mid-May. You've been here, so I'm just interested to hear your perspective on Murfreesboro. I'm sure you've had plenty of good places to eat. What's the spot? What's the spot you found so far?
Murfreesboro, actually, there is a spot I actually went to not too long ago. I think it's called Joni's, and I really enjoyed their burgers they had there. So, and I'm not always a big burger fan, but they had a really good burger there. So it was really nice.
Is the burger the go-to? Is that kind of like a cheat meal for you?
Yeah, that's definitely a cheat meal for me. That's definitely they. It was. I think let me remember what burger it was. I think it was like a Swiss burger. It wasn't the Joni, but it was another one that was like Swiss with mushroom and bacon on it. So, but it was really good.
Now, have you been to Jack Brown's?
I have not. I have
All
not
right, you're getting official advice, not a sponsor of the show, at least not yet, anyways. But you're hearing it here first. You're
yet.
going to want to go down to Jack Brown's on the square in Murfreesboro Sunday. They've got, I don't know if you're a big sweets guy, but they've got a burger that has donuts for buns.
Okay.
You got to hit it up. That's the spot, at least for me, if you're a big burger guy. So, Jack Brown's, yes sir, that's the place to be.
I'm
Well,
gonna have to check it out.
let's transition back to your dad. It's an interesting story. He's a huge fan of you on social. I know that he's a coach at your previous high school spot there at the Rock School in Gainesville, Florida. Tell me about him. What's that dynamic like? How instrumental he's been to your career?
Nah, I mean he's really passionate about the game. I mean he's like I said, he's really trained me since I was a little kid, and he's been really helpful in my journey to where I'm at today. And like I said, he's very passionate as a coach, as a person, and when it comes to the game, he loves the game. He loves being around it. Every day he's in the gym. You call him right now. If I called him right now, he'll probably be in the gym training probably about 5, 6 kids and balls bouncing everywhere. So he's really passionate. He's in the gym 24/7, and that's really translates to me as well. So I've kind of taken off from that.
I know that he does the recruiting side there too at Rock School, at least according
Yep.
to the school web's responsibilities are there, along with being a shooting technician, I'm sure, as I would describe it. Have you come across any cool names? I know one in particular, like Joel Embiid is one that went to the Rock School, stuff like that. But I think one that might be closer to home here is Brian Greenlee. He was actually your teammate in 2019. He was a part of the FAU Final Four run. You know, what kind of connections do you have with Greenlee, and have you heard any stories about him and his Final Four run?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's my guy. BJ, he's we played together for a year, and every summer we see each other, play pickup, work out together, all that stuff. But yeah, he's a real cool guy, hard worker, and a very faithful man as well. So man of faith, and he's a really good guy.
You ever get the opportunity to go back home to Gainesville and ever train with any of these guys?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we about every summer go back to Gainesville. A lot of the guys come back, train at the Rock, and we play pickup. So, but yeah, it's really good, especially from that 2019 team. We had about 7 Division I guys. A lot of guys still go back to this day, so it's really good.
I mean, it's a cool story to be a part of like a program quite like that. I mean, especially like you say, you're having the opportunity to go back and play pickup games with this kind of talent and stuff. As you've gone through your college career and you develop as a player, what are some things that you've picked up along the way that have been instrumental to now this is your final year? What is kind of the culmination of all these things that you've picked up, and where do you expect to see yourself this year?
I mean, I picked up a combination of things. I think some of the biggest things I picked up from a knowledge standpoint is playing on both ends. Not just about offense, not but especially being able to play defense at the same time. A lot of people can be good offensively, but they can't also lock up on their end. Another thing I've learned is playing off my shot, making the game simple. You say as little dribble as possible, being efficient in where you get to. So that's where I've learned a lot. And I see myself really just helping this team win, bring a winning mentality. Whatever I got to do to help this team win, I'll do it. So
From someone that watched a little bit of film from the Stetson year this last year, if you're working on the shooting off the pass, I mean, you definitely did that. You have quite the quick trigger. I think it's something, again, that we kind of lacked last year. In your conversations with the coaching staff, where do they, again, back to that conversation, do they see you as that guy that's going to be quick trigger all the time? Obviously, I know defense is something that McDevitt emphasized late at the season last year as the offense dwindled. But what are kind of those conversations like with you and the coaching staff in regards to your role?
yeah, no, of course. I mean, they really see me as a piece of just like be able to shoot the ball, really shoot the ball at a high clip, and bring that to the team to be able to spread the floor. And also, like you said, play on the defensive end as well, which is going to be a really big piece. They see my length, and it fits into their style of defense.
I want to hear your expectations on the team this year. It's all new for the most part. I mean, you have a few key turning players like Jestin, and we know about Cam, Chris Luce, another guy that saw some quality time last year. What is kind of your take on the squad? I mean, you kind of have a feel for the guys you've been at practice for.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great group of guys, and I mean, expectation is always to win the conference title. That's always the expectation, and I think that's everybody. That should be, or I believe it's everybody else's expectation as well. We just have to be able to mesh together as a team, play together as a group, and I think we could do something special this year.
What are kind of the things that you see that are different? I know you're coming from a team that was obviously a lot of experience, very talented team at Stetson University. Some things that you have valued from that group as a whole, and you're bringing it here to MTSU, and hopefully you're trying to garner some sort of leadership role. And it's tough, I'm sure, as you can attest to it, being the new guy on campus. Sure. How do you kind of fit yourself into that leadership role?
I mean, one of the biggest things I do is just trying to lead by example. Be able to show that I work hard. I bring it every day, whether it's the weight room, whether it's on the court, just going hard, everything I do every day, just trying to bring that type of mentality. Like, not taking any like play off, not taking any drill off, not taking anything off. So that's really one of my biggest things I'm gonna be bringing when it comes from a leadership standpoint to this team.
We're on a bad segue here. You're talking about being hard in practice and taking all your energy and effort there in the weight room as well. What do you do in your off time? I've got to know, what do basketball players?
If I might give you like I'm not saying a unconventional answer. Really, my time relaxing, I really just I like to read. I like to even cook, stuff like that. I'm not really like a big video game type of guy, but like I said, I love reading. I love cooking. Love even playing pickleball. I love pickleball. So, yeah, that's the type of things I like doing for my free time.
If you're a big pickleball guy, you haven't. I assume you haven't met Coach Borendane, the tennis coach. He's trying to implement this whole pickleball tennis thing. Man, you could be instrumental in breaking pickleball into NTSU.
Okay, yeah, that'll be awesome.
So you're into reading, you're into cooking. It's always good stuff. I'm interested about your studies, man. You've been at it for a while. You've got obviously a lot of credits there. What are you going to school for?
Well, I majored in, I got a bachelor's in health and science with a major in health science. I'm actually planning on actually getting my master's in strategic leadership, and well, having those two, I think, will be a good segue for me into my life after basketball.
Is coaching a future for you?
Of course. I mean, I really love the game. I love being around the game, whether that's college, high school, professional, whether no matter what level it is. I love being around the game, so I really do see myself in the future being around the game in any way possible. So coaching could be a definitely a venture for me.
Where do you view the NBA game? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you more of a college guy?
It's tough. I mean, I like the NBA game. I really do. I think the floor is really spaced out. I think when you really watch the game, especially playoffs, it's really high level basketball. And to be able to see the greatest players in the world play together and play against each other is really special, something special to see. I like it. Personally, I like it. But I also like college basketball as well. I like basketball in general, but so yeah.
It's definitely polarizing, the NBA game versus the college game, and I can see why. If you like more team basketball, college is obviously for you. If you're more into the superstars, the NBA is kind of your taste. If
Exactly.
you like the NBA game, I'm interested. Do you have an allegiance anywhere, or is it more of you got a star player that you like to follow?
Well, my favorite team, I would say Atlanta Hawks because I was born in Atlanta, but obviously they've been struggling for a little bit. I mean, I like watching a few teams. Like I actually, even now, I'm not a fan. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I really like watching like teams like the Timberwolves. Even like watching, I would say the Celtics too. It's just good because Celtics play really good basketball. They play really good team basketball and stuff. So those two teams, I'd probably say I like watching the most.
You sound like a little bit of a recency merchant there with the
Yeah,
Celtics, and
I
they
am.
took the world by
I
storm there. You like Trey Young a little bit? I mean, I could say if you start taking 40-foot 3-pointers, I don't know how much longer McDevitt would keep you on the court. But if you're hitting them, you're hitting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I like watching Trey Young. I like watching Trey. He's a really good player. Really good player.
Yeah, he's an interesting piece to say the least. But
Yeah.
anyways, I appreciate you taking the time. You're a busy man. Obviously, all the socials out there for you. I just want before we sign off here, I just want to hear from you. You know, the expectations you got one last time for this team. What's kind of the feel you got for these guys? What should Blue Raider fans expect out of this squad?
Really to expect a conference title. That's the biggest thing, and to make a run in the NCAA tournament. Those are always the expectations.
Excellent stuff, and I can tell you as a fan, I'm happy to hear that that's the mindset already. And here in June when we're doing this interview, and in July when we release it, so we hope those expectations we stick. A lot of pressure on that grad season, Alec, but I appreciate you coming on one last time, man. Thanks for coming.
No, thank you.
Our final guest on the summer series of the BRP episode on basketball season is our leading scorer from last season, over 14 points per game, highlighted by a 41-point game against UTEP in February. Joining us from Houston, Texas is Jestin Porter. JP, how's it going, man?
Going on, man? Everything's good. What about yourself?
I can't complain. And like I was saying before we came on the recording, I'm super excited to sit down and talk with you. I think a lot of Blue Raider fans especially are excited to hear a little bit about you and the insight to you about, what you got going on in your life. But, I don't want to beat around the bush with it. I think a lot of guys are really interested to hear about you in regards to you hit the portal, you broke a lot of hearts when the season came to a close, and now you're back. And there's a lot of things to be excited about the team and what's happened amidst your time in the transfer portal. Tell me a little bit about your experience there. What went into the decision to come back, and what was life like out in the transfer portal?
My decision on coming back was, long talks with my coaches, I'll say. During the process where I entered the portal, they still were recruiting me and trying to, make sure I'm still good, make sure everything's good with my family, checking in on me, making sure I wouldn't go to a wrong school. If that was the case of me leaving, going to a wrong school, they wanted to know about literally just everything that was going on in my life still. We still was so tight and so close, but my plan wasn't to really leave. I still wanted to stay there as a family, but I wanted to, weigh my options a little bit, because that's really how the game goes now. But, Blue Raiders is my home. So my decision on coming back, I talked to Coach McDevitt. We had long talks every day. We talked about a lot of things and how we're going to change this program around, basically. And so what we talked about is kind of between us two, but we had some great talks, and I think really gonna make a big change and a big run this year.
There's a lot to dissect with that, and I kind of felt I understood what's going on there in regards to. I know NIL is a huge thing, and anyone who keeps up with you on social media, you've got quite a bit going on there. And was it a matter of you're looking for that a little bit, or you're looking for a team that may even fit your playing style? Because it took you 2 seasons really to get your feet underneath yourself in junior college. You're a 20-point per game scorer at Tyler Junior College. We saw that come to fruition this last season with a position change. And again, I don't want to get overload you with this question, but when you're talking about seeking out those other opportunities, you talk about, was it the coaching fit that really brought you back to MTSU? Was it the NIL opportunities that are still available to you? What was kind of, if you had to tier it as far as what was most important to you, how would you list that?
I'll say the most important thing to me was winning. I wanted to play the way I played last year, and just win, because that's really going to get you noticed. If your team is winning and you're playing good, you're going to get noticed. So that was really my plan. I talked to Coach McDevitt. I was like, we're going to need some guys. We're going to need some guys. I really want to make a run this year. It's my last year, so I want to make a big jump in my numbers, efficiency, and everything. And I think we got the guys for that. So.
Well, that's what I thought was interesting when the portal list was coming through of all the other 6 additions that Coach McDevitt was able to make. I did make the comment to a lot of my guys over at Go Middle, like, wouldn't Jestin just kind of be the cherry on top to this? Because we've got the backup point guard that we were looking for with Jalen Counter. You've got some more guard depth with Alec, and obviously you're getting more forward depth with Esam,
Cam's
Jared
back.
Hall. Exactly, and you got Cam, who's completely healthy now. I mean, it sounds like that was something that you were keeping tabs on this whole time.
Yeah, basically that's what I was doing, talking to him a lot. He's telling me who they're recruiting and who's coming in, and just stuff like that, just keeping me in the loop still, even though I still was in the portal, which is very good.
It doesn't sound like there was any love lost. I think that's another interesting aspect. A lot of people will think that you enter the portal and it's like that guy's good as gone. I think that's an interesting dynamic that you and the coaching staff have here.
Yeah, Coach McDevitt was like, you come back, we're going to treat you the same. You leave, we're going to treat you the same, because, it's still love here. And that's what I really like the most about him.
Yeah, and I can't speak for other ones, but I'll tell you this, again, having you back, I think, is an outstanding thing. I want to talk about what came to life last season. Cam goes down really early in the season. Those talks, I'm sure, with McDevitt at some point about, hey, you're going to take a different role from that shooting guard that we recruited you as, more of a point guard position. Tell me what did you learn? How did your game grow from that transition?
My game grew a lot, I'll say, because, I had to step up, basically run a team. Coming out of JUCO, I was still shooting guard, and I wasn't really as the point guard as needed. When Cam got hurt, it was a lot of weight on my back. I had to fill a lot of void for it. Had to run a team. We actually changed the offense too. We did a lot of pick and rolls and a lot of going up and down transition wise to make it more kind of my style of play a little bit, and have everybody going instead of the other offense we had, which really helped us out a lot. Because, before December, we wasn't playing how we should have been playing. And after December, we found a new offense, a new gateway to start winning games. And that's what we started doing, winning games after that.
Are the talks this season about you kind of moving back into that comfortable shooting guard position? I hate to call it uncomfortable, because there near the end of the year, as you already touched on, you got a lot more comfortable at the point guard spot. But is he going to transition you back into the shooting guard position where you're a lot more comfortable? And is comfortable really the best way to describe it? Is that where you feel like that's home as shooting guard?
I mean, I can play point guard or shooting guard. I mean, whatever he needs me to do, I'm the guy to do it. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the plan is for me and Cam to be interchangeable. He's point guard, I'm point guard. It really, like, whoever brings up the ball, basically. I'm trying to play real fast this year too.
So another thing last year was that 41-point game. I know that was a big highlight of your season for you. I want to hear your breakdown on something like that, because you average 14 a game, but 41 points. I mean, I know it's a double overtime game, but 41's 41. So I want to know. And you were 8 for 8 from 3 in a game like that. 3-point shooting is something that again kind of picked up for you there at the end of the year. Tell me about a game like that, because amidst that winning streak you guys were on, things were really rolling. So what did you take not only from that 40-point game, but what were you seeing out of your team in that stretch where things started to turn around for you guys?
It really started with Coach. Coach McDevitt was being real hard on us in practice. We was going real hard every day. And we knew every game that we lost, it was like real close. It was just like a couple points off or just a possession or two. So we knew what we had to do. And during the 40-point game, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even know I had that many points until the end of the game. I didn't even notice it.
It's like a baseball player when you're not trying to hit a home run, but it just flies off the bat. It seemed to be that way for you. Every time you put something up, it just happened to go in.
Yeah, that's about, staying in the gym, putting in that work.
So tell me a little bit about the summer now. I know you're traveling now. You're back home in Texas area, Austin. You said, what does the training style look like for you in regards to preparing for this next season with a whole bunch of new guys on the squad?
We just recently got our break, so we got a break for 2 weeks, but I'm gonna be out here for a week or so. Then I'm gonna go back, do my same routine. I'm gonna keep my same routine out here. I just text Coach Wilkinson, our new strength coach, to send me a workout plan for lifting. So I just did that today, and later I'm just put up some shots, do my same routine I'll do at MT. So same thing.
One thing about you that when you look at you're a physical specimen, dude. You got like 0% body fat for the most part. Is training something that you naturally take a hold to, that you really enjoy? Is it nutrition? I'm interested about it.
I'll just say it's just something I like to do.
All right, another question for you that I something I've always picked out because I went to school as a physiology major, so I have strength and conditioning background. The calves and the high socks is the high socks a fashion choice, or is that just something that you think you have to wear in game?
Nah, it's really because my calves used to be tight, like they're real tight. So those like compression, kind of like compression socks. So it kind of relieves the stress on my calves a little bit, so I won't cramp up in the games.
Well, back to last year, you were second team CUSA. You had a great year, 14 points per game. Do you ever feel like a little bit disrespected by that second team CUSA finish?
Yeah, I for sure did. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna get first team, but I didn't play as good the first half of the season, so kind of expected that. But during conference, I think I played really well to get first team. But it's all right though. We got this year coming up.
So it does sound like that's something that you kind of work towards. I mean, obviously team success over individual awards, but what are you doing? You think what as far as objective, the numbers, what are areas that you think that you should see improvement in order to kind of make yourself stand out in that first team CUSA?
My efficiency, I believe, my 3-point percentage, my field goal percentage, I believe everything should shoot up a lot this year because the work we've been putting in, it's kind of crazy. So,
do you expect the shooting numbers to go up, and not necessarily in points, but as far as total volume of shots? Is that kind of something that, as far as the offense, are we looking to change a little bit?
The volume of shots, no, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, I feel like if I take with the players we have this year, I feel like my shot selection would be real good because I don't have to take as many shots. I think I would get some easy looks this year.
So yeah, and like you hit the nail on the head there in regards to the efficiency numbers, and they need to be a lot more efficient. So as far as your off season, are you looking to get up 300, 400 shots? Is there a routine there in regards to what you're doing in the gym?
Yeah, I at least try to get up 300 to 400 shots a day. We have a lot of new GAs and trainers. I mean, new GAs and managers. Them guys, we stay in the gym with them. Like, call them any time of the day. Hey, we there. So that's what I love about that.
You ever getting is in-game reps, something like that? You playing pickup ball? Is that something that you kind of value in the offseason, or are you more of just I want to get in the gym and just get shots up?
Both. I believe playing pickup helps you too, so it gets you ready for it. But I mean, our GAs and trainers, they come in, they'll guard you like it's real live. So when you're working out, you have somebody guarding you, making it a good contest and everything. So, yes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's their Super Bowl for them, I imagine. If you brought me to the gym for one practice, it'd be my life to keep JP under 10.
Yeah, they make you miss. They be like, let's go. They make you miss. They get real happy. So, I mean, hey, they love it.
Absolutely. JP, as we close in the interview here a little bit, I want to know your expectations. I know you don't necessarily have to put numbers to it, but I just kind of want to hear your perspective as far as what you think Blue Raider fans should expect from you this year. For myself, you've already got me back. You won me back. You didn't have to do this interview to do it, but I'm excited about you. What are the expectations that we should be looking towards this year?
The Blue Raider fans should be expecting a 20-plus win season this year.
The CUSA, what are we going to do about getting past the semis? That's been our threshold for the last couple of years. What's it going to take to finally get us an opportunity?
This year we got the guys for it, so we should get to the tournament this year for sure. Make a run.
You think the post play is really what? Do you ever have any opinion on the post play or anything like that? Is the length kind of where we need those points at as well?
Not too sure. I mean, it'll be good to add more points there, but I feel like the group of guys we have this year is all around like real talented. So like in practices, workouts, we've been competitive so much. I feel like these guys are really locked in and ready to work every single day. Like they have that in their mindset, like we want to win. Not just them. They're not selfish or anything. It's like a team thing, like a brotherhood. Like we all want to win. And if we're all winning, we're all going to look good. So that's the most.
It sounds like you're meshing really well with the new guys. I know it's a halfly a new team. Tell me about your meshing with the guys.
We're all cool, even off the court. I mean, like some of us live at the same apartment complex, so we always chill, go to the pool, play some ping pong or something. Like we mesh real good off the court. So
where you you've been here a little while now. Tell me where you take the new guys to. Is there a spot you take them to for food and hangout place? Where's the place you take these guys?
Not gonna lie, I put them on Kitchen Way. Do you know about Kitchen Way?
I don't, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I mean you can go good breakfast food, lunch. Like I put them on it. They was like, where should I go eat? Like I go to Kitchen Way.
What's the? I mean, what is your favorite cuisine right now?
Kitchen Way. I get like the breakfast combo. I get like the French toast, the home fries, and 2 eggs scrambled with cheese. I get a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Are you a breakfast for dinner guy?
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I prefer breakfast over dinner.
You take that most important meal of the day pretty seriously then.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it's breakfast.
I got you. All right. Well, JP, we're closing in on the time here. I absolutely appreciate you coming on, man. The Blue Raider faithful, I would have no doubt that they're going to take you back with open arms, much like the coaching staff did. An exciting season to look ahead. I appreciate you again for doing this.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.